Hey, what's up, Inquirers? So, this is part 3 in the preliminary hearing series, in which I go over the arguments made by Gregory McMichael's defense attorney, Franklin Hogue. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. You are watching Inspiring Inquiry. Alright, so in part 3, what I'm going to be doing is going over Franklin Hogue's arguments for the issuance of the warrants. He is Gregory McMichael's defense attorney. Now, where he starts out is where Agent Dial took the warrants to Judge Harris to be signed in the first place. Now, he focuses on how much time he spent there, what exactly was done when he got there. Agent Dial says that he goes there, he speaks with the judge, he swore him in, then he gave him the warrants, and then he gave oral testimony as well. They go back and forth about how much time he spent there. Agent Dial says it was more than 2 or 3 minutes, but it was most likely less than an hour. They go back and forth on this for a while. I guess the defense attorney is really wanting to hone in on exactly how much time that he was there. Now, he says a roundabout, but he keeps asking questions going back and forth. But other than that, they talk about the oral testimony that was given and whether or not it was recorded and that kind of stuff. And Agent Dial says, no, it wasn't recorded, but that, if the judge was there, he would say that, yes, he gave him oral testimony. And he basically said that it was just facts about the case, things that he uncovered, conversation that he had with Mr. English about the property and how nothing had been taken. He just went over a number of different facts about the case, but they weren't contained in the affidavit itself. So from there, what they do is they move on to the wording used in the warrant. Now, apparently, he used party to a crime. Now, this is specific because a party to a crime has, I guess, different versions of a party to a crime that you can put on a particular warrant, depending on which one fits the facts about the case or the incident that happened. And his particular version of party to a crime is aiding and abetting another person in committing that crime. Now, he asks him if he's a lawyer, and he says, no, I'm just a police officer. And he said, yeah, I know police officers that are also lawyers. He just wanted to know how extensive his law background was. So then they discuss why he chose that particular one. And, he's saying, do you know what aiding and abetting means? If you're using it within your warrant, he says, yes, it means to assist someone in committing a crime. Now, I went ahead and looked up the definitions of aiding and abetting, and basically what it means is aiding is assisting another in doing something or helping and encouraging a person. Now, abetting is particular in the fact that it says the exact same thing, but it's in reference to a crime. So abetting is aiding or assisting or encouraging someone to commit a crime. So now that they have established the colloquial definition, or like a commonly known definition of what aiding and abetting means, assisting, he's saying that according to the warrants, he wrote that Gregory McMichael assisted Travis McMichael in the aiming, pointing, and firing of a gun. Now, he asks, how specifically did he assist him in the aiming and firing of the weapon at Ahmaud Arbery? And the special investigator describes the events that took place and what Gregory McMichael's actions were in reference to that. So instead of explaining it, I'm going to go ahead and play you guys the clip. This is the clip of what Agent Dial had to say about Gregory McMichael's actions in the event.
I want to know what Greg McMichael did to assist his son Travis in the pointing and discharging of a shotgun.
Initially, it was Greg McMichael that advised his son that Ahmaud Arbery was running down the road. Greg McMichael armed himself, as well as Travis armed himself. They both entered the vehicle. When they called up Mr. Arbery turned and went back up Burford. Greg McMichael exited the vehicle, was approaching, saw that he was going back up Burford, went back to Travis McMichael and said, come on, back the car up, let's go. Otherwise, encouraging him to box him in, pointing his direction out. That's when Travis said, no, let's circle around. When they circled around, Greg McMichael is in the back of the truck on 911. You hear him say, stop, stop, and then him yell, Travis, on the 911 call. To me, that is assisting Travis first. He is the first one that initiates the entire event that culminated in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. Second, while I put aided, abetted, assisted, however you want to phrase it, he's encouraging the continued pursuit and the final confrontation with Ahmaud Arbery. And then while he's on 911 call, he alerts Travis of Ahmaud Arbery's approach along the passenger side of the vehicle.
Okay, I got all that. You're not saying, though, are you, Agent Dial, that when Greg McMichael did all of those things you just described leading up to the shooting, that he did all of those things to assist Travis McMichael, knowing that he was going to point and discharge his shotgun during all of that time that you just described? You're not saying that.
I am saying that Greg McMichael knew that Travis McMichael had a shotgun. I do not believe that Greg McMichael thought that Travis McMichael had a shotgun for decorative purposes or that he had it for the purpose that he may use it. And that's what Greg McMichael knew when he engaged in those acts.
So I'm not exactly sure what he's looking for here. I mean, you heard Agent Dial explain how Gregory McMichael participated. I mean, he initiated the entire event. He saw Ahmaud Arbery running down the street. He ran inside. He told Travis. He told them to get their guns. At one point, he even jumped into the back of the truck with his own gun. I'm not sure why you would bring weapons like that, keep them on you instead of in the truck, and then still say, well, we weren't aware of whether or not, we were going to use the guns. I'm not sure what exactly he's looking for. I mean, is this the image that he's looking for when Greg McMichael assisted his son in everything that happened with Ahmaud Arbery? I don't know. Next, they move on from this and they stop talking about how Gregory McMichael assisted Travis McMichael, and they move on to Agent Dial requesting warrants for access to the house and exactly what were they looking for. Next, he asks him the question, were you looking for evidence to show that Gregory McMichael had assisted his son Travis? To which the special investigator retorts with, he's not there to prove any sort of hypothesis. He's there to collect the facts. In my last video, I said that's the difference between someone who's going into it with the right intentions versus these defense attorneys. These defense attorneys are trying to make it fit a particular narrative, which is exactly why he's asking the special investigator whether or not he's there to fit a particular narrative, because he knows that there's something wrong with that. Yet he keeps trying to push and move all of the evidence around to make it fit the narrative that he's trying to paint, which we are about to see in this next clip that I have of an exchange between the defense attorney and Agent Dial. Let's take a look.
Now, earlier in your testimony, you attributed to Greg McMichael the words that he said to Travis McMichael, "Don't shoot."
That's what Greg McMichael told the first responding officers, he said. However, the 911 call which recorded his statement at shooting does not reflect that. I think what Greg McMichael told the first responding officer is what Greg McMichael had going through his mind. However, I do not believe he actually said those words. But I think at that point, he knew that Travis McMichael was fixing to fire the shotgun and kill Ahmaud Arbery.
So from this point, they move on to talk about the warrants issued for the home and what he was looking for. He just wanted to verify some things on the Wi-Fi router, that Travis McMichael's phone was linked to that Wi-Fi router, so that shows that he was in the house. Then they move on to the interviews conducted around Gregory McMichael and his statements. He talked to officers on scene, one with the body cam. He came in, gave another interview to other officers later that was a little bit longer than the body cam footage. And he also spoke to other investigators with the DA's office. He spoke with the Glynn County police officer. And basically what he was asking in referencing all these different interviews that he had is whether or not he was consistent in the interviews. Now, he says that, yeah, he did make some mistakes as to what actually happened and what the video reflected, but that he was consistent in every interview that he gave. There was even one point where he posted about it on Facebook, and somebody that he knew, and Officer Cooper, reached out to him and says, hey, call me. At that point, I don't think he knew that Greg McMichael was actually involved, that the post on Facebook was in reference to Travis McMichael being involved in some sort of an incident. So Officer Cooper had reached out to him, said, hey, call me, so they could talk about it. And when he asked him, was he consistent in relaying what the events that had happened according to him to that person, was he still consistent with the other interviews that he had given? And yes, he said that he was consistent with all the interviews that he had. They talk a little bit about entrances to the neighborhood and the roads that are leading in, and if there's 2 different entrances into the neighborhood. So then the defense attorney asks him whether or not he went around the neighborhood and asked everybody if they had seen anything, if there was any new footage or anything, if they had heard anything related to the incident. To which the special investigator replies that yes, he did a thorough canvassing in which he went to each each of the houses and he talked to the people. They did a canvassing of Satilla Shores, of Fancy Bluffs, and apparently another neighborhood, which I don't know the name of, that is a little bit down from Satilla Shores. That during this canvassing, unfortunately, it didn't uncover anybody else who had seen anything or had any extra footage than they already had, but they did uncover people who said that they heard gunshots and also people who said that they had seen Aubrey running through the neighborhood in the past. That kind of leads them into talking about the videos that they had collected in reference to the incident. And he said that he had about 4 or 5 different videos from different vantage points at different points in the incident that kind of helped them piece together a timeline. So I'm sure most of us have seen the one from across the street of the house under construction. We've seen some of the video footage taken from the house under construction. We've seen Roddy Bryan's video from his phone, but we haven't seen any of the other ones collected. And we also haven't seen the one that was from Roddy Bryan's motion activated camera that was right in front of his house that caught some of the interaction. So apparently there is 1 or 2 other videos out there that we haven't been able to see yet. Lastly, in regards to the videos, Franklin Hogue asked whether or not any of the other videos that had been captured showed Ahmaud Arbery in the neighborhood prior to the one that was across from the house under construction, seeing him actually go into the house. That is the first one that they have so far showing Ahmaud Arbery coming into the neighborhood, going into the house. That's the first one they see that day. Well, I was going to attempt to get the 2 remaining defense attorneys' arguments into this video, but there seems to be a storm that popped up right over my house. There's a lot of lightning and thunder and loud rain and everything, and I've already had to kind of re-record a few things. So I'm going to end this video here, and then I'm going to save the best for last. Kevin Gow has to be my least favorite person involved in this hearing or this thing in general, honestly. So the next video is going to be a lot of fun where we go over a lot of the mistakes he made and really how he's trying to frame this, and is very dishonest. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching my video. Like this video if you found it informative. Share this video if you want other people to see it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more video content like this. And as always, comment down in the section below, share us your thoughts, let us know what do you think on the preliminary hearing, what do you think about the things that are going on in the country right now, the Black Lives Matter movement, anything related to George Floyd or COVID-19, anything at all, please do so down there. As always, this is Inspiring Inquiry.